Hi, I am here today to show you how to make one of these chunky big bows. They are really easy, brilliant for beginners, and perfect to use up sort of scrap yarns. You don't necessarily have to have chunky yarn to do this as well. I'll explain more further into the video. I've used mine on the top of a wreath. I'm going to finish off decorating it later on, but they can be made into garlands. You can even put them on a bobble and make them into big hair bows. They can be used for loads of different things, but they do look particularly effective like this or made up into a garland. So tune in, get your hooks ready, and let's get crocheting. To make the chunky bow garland, you can either use chunky yarn, which is bulky weight in the US, or if you don't have any chunky, you can't get the colours that you want because there aren't so many to choose from. You can hold 2 strands of double knitting weight yarn, which is a number 3 yarn, together instead. And that means that if you wanted to get a sparkly yarn, which aren't so readily available in the thicker weights, that you can get some sparkly colours in there. I don't know how well this is going to come out on the camera, but I do have a sparkly yarn here, and I'm going to hold 2 strands of this red together instead of using chunky, but either works fine, no problems. And we're going to use a 7mm hook. My preference normally would be to use these tulip Etimo hooks. I'll put a link down in the description if you want to have a try of these and grab yourself one. They are my absolute favourite hooks, and I am pretty sure they make me a quicker crocheter. But I don't have a 7mm yet. Anyway, I'm not even sure they do them in the Etimo. So I'm just using a standard stainless steel one, or aluminium, I think it might be. So we're going to start by putting a slip knot on our hook. I'm going to use primarily US terms for this pattern, but I am also going to reference UK terms for those of you that prefer those. So slip knot on our hook. And then we're going to start with a chain of 3. So 1, 2, and 3. From the 3rd chain in the hook, you're going to put 3 double crochets. So this is treble crochet in the UK. So we're going to yarn over first, go into that very first chain, which is the one by the knot, the one with the slip knot there. Yarn over, pull through to give you 3 loops. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. We're going to do 2 more of those. So yarn over and in, yarn over and through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2, and 1 more, another double crochet, treble crochet in the UK. And there we have row 1 done. We're going to chain 2 and then turn. We're going to do an increase now in that very first stitch. So we're going to skip over these 2 chains here and go to our very first stitch here and place 2 of our double crochet stitches in that first one there. So there's 1 and there's 2. Then we're just going to place 1 double crochet in the next stitch. And then in the next one, which is the end stitch, we're going to place another increase. So we're going to do 2 in there. 1 and 2. So we are gradually increasing. You can see you want that point of the bow at the bottom there. So we have 5 stitches. Now we're going to chain 2 and turn. And then we're going to put increase again in the first stitch, which is 2 doubles in that same space in that very first stitch. The chain 2s in this pattern don't count as a stitch. Then we're going to do 3 double crochets along, so just 1 in the next 3. So that's 1 and 2 and 3, and then 2 more, another increase at the end. So by increasing at each end, we are making it grow out in that triangular shape. as you can see, we're getting that triangle shape there. So we've now got 7 stitches. If you wanted a wider bow, you could continue to grow this out by putting an increase in each end. But I've just left it at 7 stitches, which is the size that works out best for me with the weight of yarn that I've got and the hook. If you choose a different weight of yarn and a different hook size, feel free to continue growing it wider by increasing on either side. Now, we are now on row 4. We're going to chain 2 and turn, and now we're just going to do lots and lots of rows that are one double crochet in each stitch along. So I've just got 7 stitches, so I'm just placing 7 stitches along, and we're going to make it a really long, almost like a ribbon that we're going to turn into a bow. So we're going to keep doing that. So this is row 4. I want you to keep going for another, or until you get to row 38. So row 38 will be your last row where you are just doing one double crochet in each stitch along. So we're going from 4 to 38, and then you can rejoin me at the video for row 39. So you should now have done 38 rows in total, and most, apart from the first 3, from 4 to 38 should have just been one double crochet in each stitch with a chain 2 at the end before turning. So we're now going to make the opposite end to make the triangle the other side for those sort of points on the tails of the bow. So chain 2, and we're going to put a decrease either side here. So a double crochet decrease, yarn over into the first stitch, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through 2, and then leave those 2 on your hook. Yarn over into the next stitch, yarn over and pull through, yarn over, pull through the front 2 only, leaving you with 3 loops on your hook, and then yarn over and pull through all 3. We're now going to do 3 doubles, so 1 in each of the next 3 stitches, so no decreases here, so just 1 and then 1 in the next one, 2 and then 1 in the next one, and 3. We've got 2 stitches left where we're going to place another decrease. So yarn over in, yarn over through, yarn over through the front 2 and leave those there, yarn over into the next stitch, yarn over and pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, leaving those 3, yarn over and pull through all 3, and you can see that it's already starting to pull in to make that triangle shape. Chain 2 for row 40. We're going to do a decrease again at each end, and we'll just have one single double in the one. That's confusing, isn't it, when I say single double? One double crochet in the middle of the 2 decreases either side. So yarn over again in, yarn over through the front 2, yarn over into the next stitch, yarn over, I didn't get all the way through that, yarn over and pull through 2, sorry, yarn over and through, then yarn over, pull through 2, leaving you with those 3, yarn over, pull through all 3. Then we're just going to do 1 double crochet in the next stitch. We should then have 2 left to do our decrease. Yarn over in and through, yarn over through 2, yarn over in, yarn over through 2, and then yarning over and through all 3. Chain 2 and turn, and now we've got 3 stitches left. We're going to do a triple decrease here, so we're going to decrease all 3 stitches into 1. So yarn over into the first one, yarn over through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over in, yarn over through, yarn over, pull through 2, and then finally yarn over in, yarn over through, yarn over, pull through 2. You should have 4 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over and pull through all 4. Feels a bit strange doing that, doesn't it? But it does create a nice triangular point at the end. We're now going to fasten off, leaving enough of a tail to be able to sew it in securely. That's it. So fasten that off. So you get a nice triangular point there, just like you have at the other end. What I love about this is that it is quite loose. And I think it just looks really, really effective when it's made into a bow. So if you sew in your tail ends on both ends here, you won't need those. Sew them in and then return back here for how to assemble it into a bow. Okay, so we're ready for assembly now with all our ends sewn in. So first of all, you need to cut a big length of whatever colour you want to have as your middle section of the bow, where you're going to wrap it round in the middle here. I'm just using the same colour, but you can use a contrast colour if you want to. You want a really big long length, at least 50 centimetres up to a metre, which is about a yard in imperial terms. So you want a nice long bit of yarn here. Then we're going to lay it down horizontally and then cross over like this to start forming that bow shape. We want to make sure that kind of our tail ends are the same. So our tail ends, our tails here, and that our bow bit are about the same, about equal with each other. So I'm sort of happy with that. I'm going to put that over the top like that there, because what we're going to do now is pinch it in the middle. We're going to get our long strand here, pick up and sort of hold that on. We're going to start to wrap and pull really tightly, making sure, sort of stop at certain points to make sure it is the shape that you want it to be. And then you're just going to keep wrapping so that you have like a nice middle section there. Keep wrapping it round. Okay, when you get to the end, if you get your darning needle, you can then sew this in to attach it. You can always, depending on what you're using your bow for, you could always put a little blob of glue there if you'd rather, and sew it in. So I'm just going to catch it in a few times there. And then trim that off. And then you just need to sort of shape it how you want it to be. They look nice. These can look nice as well. If you make a few of them, you can attach them together at the top here and make like a garland. I am going to pop mine on the top of my wreath here. It's going to be a Christmas wreath. So I'm going to put some holly here, I think, and maybe a little robin, but a nice big sparkly red bow on my wreath there. They look really effective. They're really fun to make, really simple and easy, but fun to make. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Please do give me a subscribe, a like and a comment. See me over on social media with what you've been making as well. Thanks for tuning in today, and I'll see you again soon.